Good afternoon. My name is Scott Rutherford, Chief Strategic Officer at T3Live.com. Welcome to today's recap and look ahead. So, market tacked on some more gains. You'll read about Dow 18,000 across the newspapers, and just it's not the easiest tape, even if you're trying to be long. Money's rotating, and there are some spots to be there, but it seems like it's hard to find the momentum. It's hard to find the power, and every time it feels as if we break back below a prior low, and they might correct. They correct a little bit, then they don't go down, and then there's drifting. So what does that mean? I guess it means really look for where the volume is and got to pick your spots carefully. And if you miss something, don't chase it, because chances are if you pay up, you're going to not get rewarded. And if you get out after a pullback, and don't sell strength, chances are it's going to bounce. And if you're manually trading and watching this, you know what I mean. So let's just get to the charts. All in all, you look at the chart, really the last time we had a powerful opportunity here from the long side was when it broke above this descending channel. That gave you 2 days. These 2 days are 2 days that traders love, right? You have a powerful day, you could take them home, then you get another day. That's the kind of thing that we look for in stocks. You get a powerful day, follow through, you then sell some, and then you wait. Sometimes you get 3 days, okay? And then from here, we had that sideways type of consolidation above the 8-day moving average, and now, here we are 1, 2, 3 days later, very small inside days going to the upside. We've already taken out this peak, or we're right there at least. And this, it's kind of hard when this happens because you feel like you're in this ascending channel where at some point it's going to break to the downside, but you never really know when. But I guess we'll cross that bridge when we get there. If you look a little further back, you'll see that the bigger resistance that it seems like they want to touch or get near is that 2130, which is about 11 handles higher. Okay, so we'll see. We'll see how it goes. So I guess the power this week was in oil, and a lot of us, some guys caught it, some guys didn't. On Monday, I put the chart of the UWTI in there with the USO and talked about the XLE, and those who gravitated there, that's where the action was. UWTI, look at this move. Okay, and it's never easy. Everyone's like, I was talking to Chris, who sits next to me, and I'm like, this was your thesis too. Why, why didn't you make really good money here, or what, or even why didn't I make really good money here? Well, it is what it is. It broke above it on Monday, gave you follow through Tuesday, and here's your Wednesday. So if you bought it when it went above this 37.25, okay, here is a good spot. Or if you missed that and you waited till it closed above the prior 2016 peak to take it home, that was at 39, and here we are at almost 42, 3 points. Granted, you had to deal with Yellen on Monday, you had to deal with oil inventories, so you always have to deal with something. So I guess you have to deal with it in a way that makes you comfortable staying involved. If you wanted something with a little less beta, obviously the USO. Also, if you look at it just like this, it looked like it was curling up. You could have been long here when it got above this 1196, or you could have waited till it closed above the prior peak here, which was 1212, and now we're at 1244. Doesn't seem like a lot, but percentage-wise, it's a trade. Problem is, again, it's hard as a manual trader with the way these things move because they don't move the way they used to. But here was here was your nice move, and then in there you had your move in the XLE. XLE. Gave you a calculated trade, right? Broke above here. Here's your day 1, day 2. You always take a little profits on day 3. Some people might have even got a little short when it pushed above this prior peak and came below, and now we'll see if you get some sideways. But all in all, nice little, nice trend from the lows. Okay, and then broken sector that's now above the 200-day, and nice tactical move, with trades to take here and there. But like here, when it broke above, this was day 1, day 2, day 3, gave you 2 more. Here is day 1, day 2, day 3, and that's your sell. So if you're having trouble intraday, put yourself in when you think is your buy price, and then make sure you put a stop at when the trade changes, not when it costs you money or not when you give back more than you wanted to give back, but when the trade changes. So if that's you, where you feel like you're getting chopped around, then do less positions and just be in the things that you want. So let's go to the Qs. The Qs have been lagging, right? But the Qs are kind of tight. So the question is, when the market, if the market stalls tomorrow, if it does, what happens? Do they break this, inside inside consolidation to the downside, considering that it's not above 2016 highs and it's lagging? Or, does the financial, the energy sector take a rest, metals take a rest, and then money rotates here and breaks it out, and then we wind up taking out this 111.44? We shall see. Chances are, the way the tape's been going, it's going to get some flows and at some point get above this. We'll see. This was your last powerful trade here in the Qs. Okay, right there when it broke above the 200-day moving average and engulfed all the moving averages, and then you had little tack-on days, little tack-on days. And then everyone said it was going to break this ascending channel to the downside with force, and it kind of held in there. So, we'll see what's next. I've been trying to find different things to trade, because Facebook is not fun lately. It couldn't break out yesterday, and then it couldn't break down today. It looked like it was in the game to maybe short below yesterday's low, and I came in short. I tried to short it, and it didn't work. And then, it seems as if it's still just in the range, and I don't know what it means. If it means to just stay the hell away from it until it breaks above this with authority. This engulfing day I thought maybe would give you a move to the downside, but I remember what happened here when everyone thought it was going to break into this gap on this day, and then all of a sudden it engulfed it, and then you had to move. So, I was short that day, and I covered and then switched gears here. Wasn't as big, but you did get a small red dog reversal on a micro basis around this, so I am long small just to keep an eye on it. I'm going to try not to overtrade it. Maybe one day when we see big volume come in, maybe there's some kind of news that happens, it goes, but we'll see. Just kind of like Tesla. Tesla felt a little bit broken. It was a pain in the you-know-what. And then finally, Barron came on. He talked about it, explained what was going on there, and you had your really nice move above 222. And then today it hit 240, and you had that great day-and-a-half trade. That's what we try and live on. We try and catch and capture those day-and-a-half trades. If you could do that, you can make a living. Okay, and this was actually even more than a day-and-a-half trade because, I looked for that day-and-a-half trade here. Remember this? Okay, I listed the chart, okay, and it did not happen, okay? We were in it here, added, made some good money, kept a little bit of a trailer and got stopped out here. This time, okay, when it was a little bit more set up, okay, you had, your red dog, let me get a pen. You had your red dog reversal here, okay, that was your entry number one. And then while he was speaking, if you didn't do it there, I wasn't involved on this day. I got involved at 7:15 in the morning when I heard him talking around 222, 223. You could have got involved there or here. And then today it opened up and hit our target. What was my target in the morning call? Go take a look. I said not the easy trade, but where it could possibly get to would probably be the lower end of this spot where it broke down from, and that's where it tailed off. Now it'll probably be noisy for a little bit, but this little 3-day move, when there's a catalyst and there's volume, it doesn't matter what the computers do, okay? Typically, there's extra volume, and you could trade through levels, and they can't control it. They're actually probably on your side when that happens. So that's that. Google got upgraded today. I don't know. It's still a broken name in tech, but last time it cleared this descending channel here, okay? It gave you another day inside day, tried to go in the gap, and now maybe it's trying from another descending channel here. So I did get along a little bit near the close and thinking maybe it continues, and next time it gets up here, it trades into the gap a little better, but still not a great name. It's not leading the market. I'm just trying to find something to do. Amazon, even though it's made new highs every other day, there's been no real traction. It's been hard to trade. There's no power. That's another reason why people are frustrated. Maybe at some point it gets a real stretch above this. Here was the prior high. Felt like it came above it a few times and just couldn't get anything going. So we'll see what happens here. It's on the radar. For those of you who bought gold yesterday because the market pulled in, you thought the market was going down, and you're like, gold is holding up, so the miners, let me be in long gold just in case, because sometimes gold goes up with the market also. Well, you had a good play, okay? You had this gap up after the jobs report. It held in there, keeping the power, and then gapped up again. Look at that, woohoo! Miners the same way, GDX. This even more powerful. This gave you a little bit of a topping tail, but here's your gap. Here didn't even get to near the gap, and then gapped above this and made a new high and came off a little bit. So maybe if you were in it from this day or in it from one of these days, you trimmed a little bit, but overall looks fine. And that's really it. Market's not the easiest to trade. It's choppy. It lacks volume. It lacks power. But If you're short something with no power and no volume and it's just trending higher, they're not going to give you your money back. And if you don't buy something or you overtrade it because it's not going at the speed you want it to go, then they also don't give you money back. So I guess the the moral of the story is trade. Don't trade everything. Trade what is kind of compelling, and if it's not compelling, just trade it with less size and don't expect as much. And we'll figure out what happens tomorrow. Have a good night.